Now, when finding an angle, the process is very similar. However, we'll create an equation. We won't have the size of the angle to put into our calculator. So we actually will be asking the calculator to find the angle. Now, in that case, excuse me, to ask the calculator to find an angle, we want to access, for example, this sine to the -1. Sine inverse, that's called. So you will see that we will be, part of our process will involve sine inverse or cos inverse or tan inverse. And that's the most important difference when you're setting out your answer for finding an angle to when you're finding a side. Let's have a look at this example. Clearly, in this example, we don't know the angle. That's where the theta is. However, the steps, like I said, are very similar. Step 1, identify the sides with respect to the unknown angle. So, with respect to that angle, this becomes adjacent. Opposite would be over there. We're not going to put that on because there's no number or letter on it. And the other side that we clearly know is the hypotenuse. It's opposite the right angle. Once we've identified the two sides that are involved, we choose the correct trig ratio. We know that adjacent and hypotenuse is the cosine, or cos of theta is adjacent on hypotenuse. Step 1 and 2 have been the same so far. Step 3 is also the same. Substitute the values into this equation. We did that previously. So we have to stay with cos theta. We don't know that number. We don't know the angle size. We don't know what to put on our calculator to come up with a number in that spot. Now, you'll know from the work you did in the algebra chapter, if we don't know that number there, we certainly must know the numbers in the other two spots, which we do. So the adjacent side has a 3 on it, and the hypotenuse has a 5.4. Now, this is the important different step. It says, to find the angle, take the inverse trig ratio, and in this case, it will be cos inverse. Why? Because we'd identified the ratio that we require is cos. We write theta equals cos inverse of this fraction 3 over, 5.4. Now, to access anything written in yellow, you firstly press the yellow button. Second, and we want that cos inverse, cos, and we'll put our fraction in as 3 over 5.4. And it is important that you close the bracket here, otherwise you'll get an error. And that will come up as a decimal, 56.25. So that's a decimal. Now, this question says to the nearest minute. To get that to change to the minutes, we simply press DMX. So it says 56 degrees, 15 minutes, and only 3 seconds. So both these seconds and minutes depend on whether they are 30 or more, because we know there are 30 seconds in a minute. There are 60 seconds in a minute. There are 60 minutes in 1 degree. So both of them, 3 is not going to impact on 15. So we'll have 56 degrees, 15 minutes. And so you can see we found an angle. It's important to keep track of what you're doing throughout your answer. We were finding an angle, and yes, our answer reflects an angle. It's not a number of centimetres or units like the length of a side would be. It's clearly we've given an angle. I'll stop this video there and talk about these problems in a separate video.